Hey, what's going on, YouTube? Or Storm here, coming at you guys with another episode of the Team APS Community Tournament. This is a round two match featuring Tinker playing Cubics versus Silver playing Cosmos. So today, for commentate for you guys, I have Mr. Water himself, Boss Mojo. Say hello to everybody.
What's up, guys?
So Cubics are a little bit I've read of Cubics and seen them play. Like they're an interesting, weird but interesting deck for sure. So I think you're a little bit more informed than I am, so you can tell me like what a lot of the Cubics do exactly.
So, one of the main cubics that we're going to be seeing in this game is going to be Crimson Nova, the Dark Cubic Deity, which is basically the OTK machine. And the basic concept and premise of the cubics is to be able to attack multiple times and to burn your opponent for game or just attack with enough damage for game by damage buffing themselves and searching each other.
hmm It looks like the
And the console player drops an E-Telly.
Yeah, it looks like it's all coming down on end phase. So you probably didn't have like all the traditional Cosmo traps that we see, like
Yeah,
Cosmo like you know um
Mojo and Call.
yeah, that's usually they play like, and then Tin Can's gonna activate and resolve, obviously.
It's smart of him to E-Telly in the end phase because it means that his tin can avoid being Veilered.
Yes, for sure. That really helps because, like, people for. I remember, like, before Valor got its errata in 5D collection, it was so annoying because you couldn't Valor like monsters that activated it in phase, like Yamato. All right,
Veiler also, it was nice that priority was removed, but that can be a topic for another day.
right. And looks like he's gonna go Dark Destroyer, Slip Rider, and I'm not really.
Probably a Dark Lady if he doesn't
Yeah,
have one in hand.
yeah. It looks like the Dark Lady is gonna be revealed. I mean,
Uh,
my experience playing as Cosmos, I was just Dark Lady just adds so much more. Like the big boards they could already make now, Dark Lady just makes them that much better.
the nice thing about Dark Lady is she adds pressure to a board without you having to have Dark Destroyer because you can just sit on a Dark Lady and if they try to out it, you can summon Dark Destroyer and then float down into Dark Lady.
Yeah, like it's. I'm not gonna lie though, I'm very happy Dark Lady is a level 5. It would be absolutely insane if it was a level 4.
I can agree with that. I feel that it might be reasonable to test Stormforth in Cosmos just for that, but it's kind of questionable. We'll
Yeah,
see.
yeah. I mean, Stormforce is. I've said for ages that Stormforce is the best removal card in the game of Yugioh. Like just because it's so more generic than like 99% of the other options you might play.
Oh,
It,
so he had a Dark Lady in hand.
that makes sense. I mean, Slip Rider doesn't really do him anything here. It's not like he has a Cosmotown active to pop.
Right, summoning the Dark Lady was probably his best play there, but he probably could have revealed a different ship off of Tin Can instead of the Lady if he had one in hand.
That's true.
But that depends on his build. I don't know if he's playing Dogfighter or Forerunner.
Or if he might be playing, also he could be. You don't know. He might be playing the Fire King Island. Oh wow, Nova's coming down.
Yes, so this Nova can basically says that he reveals 3 other cubics in his hand and he special summons him. He's unaffected by activated effects from other monsters who are attacker 3000 or less. If he destroys a monster by battle, he can attack again, and during the end phase, he burns both players for 3k. So,
Yeah,
um,
that's pretty crazy. Just in general, it's like if that card is like it's a lot like it kind of reminds me of like early Cosmos and hitting you with Farm Girl. Like if they get a hit in with Crimson Nova, they're basically gonna win.
if they hit over a monster with Nova, they should win.
Yeah, so it looks like here there's unless he has a Dark Destroyer in hand, there's not a lot he can really do.
I mean,
Like
it's not game yet, but he does have the cubic karma in hand, unless his opponent can stop him with a destroyer.
yeah, it looks like it looks like the Cubic Karma is coming down.
Okay, yeah, the karma can make it game because karma lets him target the a cubic monster and then send Yugioh the cubic spawn any number from his deck to his graveyard and then or hand or deck to the graveyard and then the monster gains 800 attack for each one sent. And since you want Yugioh in your graveyard, um, it's understandable they'll send 3 probably and give it 2400 attack. And since that can attack twice, that's game right there.
Yeah, for sure. Yugioh seems like a pretty important card in the archetypes. I believe it's like not to be able to destroy by battle, but the main thing is when it does bite the dust, like it sets a cubic counter, and cubic counters are negated. Cubic counters basically negate anything, the monster's
Correct.
effects and stuff. So, yeah, 5,400 attack. Yeah, I think we're going to game two, boys. It's GG Nori.
Yeah, so he didn't have a ship to be able to float into there, which
Which is
was
it's just
problematic.
yeah, like that's just an insane card right there. So looks like we're going to game two as I'm being an idiot and clicking away.
To be honest, a safer play that his opponent could have made would probably have been to reveal two bigger ships besides Slip Rider, probably Landwalker and Forerunner, or Dogfighter and Forerunner,
I
because he could have had tokens to defend him and then floated down into defense mode monsters.
Yeah, I mean, at least the Cosmo builds I've seen, I'm not sure if they really run. I know Landwalker, I've seen it, sees play as like maybe a one of, but like Dogfighter never really was that popular, at least in the builds I've seen. I mean, if anything else, it's just a kind of a win more card.
I feel Landwalker is becoming a lot more popular because it's a good out to Majesty's Fiends and other problematic cards because of the fact that it's not an activated effect, it's continuous. So if your opponent tries to Raigeki your board of Cosmos under Majesty's Fiend, you can just pop your Cosmo Town instead.
Oh yeah, that's one of the things I didn't realize when I first read the card is it lets you pop Cosmotown and
No, but
I
it doesn't activate. That's what makes it even better.
yeah, and it popped and the fact that it I always thought when they okay, it looks like he's gonna end phase Telly into a tin can.
It looks like he has a back row this time to maybe help protect him.
Yeah, but yeah, because the one thing about Cubics is that like if you don't have like the right combo pieces in hand, getting Nova can be difficult, and you do have ways to search it, but you have to kind of have to naturally draw it.
What we're unsure of is so far since we're we're not live commentating this, but commentating it based on the replay. I have no idea if he's playing Recurring Nightmare or not, or if he's playing Reasoning, which is at 1, so if he hits it, he could be very lucky if he plays it.
Yeah, I mean, those are definitely something I like cards like because for you guys watching, all the cubic monsters have zero defense, which means recurring nightmare is pretty dang good in the deck. I mean, because you being able to cycle back two monsters and then for your fodder for your Nova is pretty nice.
Since Reasoning's good in the deck because I believe yeah, almost all of them have the same stipulations as Infernoids where they cannot be normal summoned or set. So they'll just be sent to the graveyard. And then with a Recurring Nightmare, you can just add back your cubic deities.
Yeah, that's pretty good too.
And then you can banish cubic karma from your graveyard to add any cubic monster from your deck, and that effect is not once per turn, I believe.
Yeah, which was pretty, which I mean, for personal like salty reasons, I'm not upset that reasoning is at one, but it definitely the deck would be a lot better if it was at multiples. Looks like the Slip Rider's gonna get added off of the tin can, which isn't great.
It's not inherently bad. It depends on what he has in hand to complement the Slip Rider. If he has, like, Wicked Witch, maybe.
He's probably because he's definitely gonna tag out here for sure. He doesn't want his
He
tin
has to
can.
tag out.
Yeah, you don't want your tin can getting banished. So it looks like is he gonna banish? If he does force to summon the Slip Rider, you're obviously gonna just drop it in defense mode, just chill. He can float into whatever else you need, like maybe possibly other tin can to use on his end phase.
That is actually a very good option. No, he summons a Slip Rider in defense mode, afraid of the OTK.
Yeah, like and that was one thing I remember him saying is that like the reason he played a lot carefully, he played so carefully after the match. Silver was saying that he had to played so carefully because he was so afraid of the OTK for game one, which I would be too.
The fact they summoned Slip Rider in defense most likely means that that back row is a Call of the Haunted or a Solemn instead of a Mojo.
Yeah, if he had a Mojo, he would have I think been a lot more casual about just summoning an attack mode and passing.
I could understand if it's a Mojo because he did summon a ship, so it lets him float, but it is probably a Solemn if he plays them or a Call for the Destroyer.
For sure. Alright, so it looks like I believe it passed turn back to Tinker, so Tinker's got to figure out what he wants to do from here. Obviously, I think among most of the Cubit cards, which one of them can be actually be normal summon? Because I know a lot of them can't be.
I believe that Vjam can be normal summoned and set, and Duja can be normal summoned or set.
And at least from what I remember, I believe Duja was actually a V-Jump promo in the OCG, so it wasn't. It's with those you really don't know when we're getting it, but we do know that a lot of these Cubic cards will be coming out in the movie pack later next month.
Since we got confirmed their movie pack is 57 cards compared to the OCG's 45 cards, we know that we have 12 more cards than they do. So it's very possible that we probably will get Duja in the movie pack, but we can't confirm it.
Yeah, so it looks like a Tinker just had a quick phone call to make middle of a duel. And it looks like, yeah, I mean, speaking of Duja looks like the Duja's coming down. Duja's basically like an Armageddon Knight for the archetype, right?
Yeah, except he can send any cubic card, including Karma.
And Karma's one of the, I believe it's the continuous spell
It's
we
the
saw earlier.
Stratos spell by
Yeah,
banishing it.
which
So
allows you to search a lot of your key combo pieces.
it's very possible that he could send Karma here, banish it. If he has 3 other cubics in hand, he could just summon Crimson Nova right here.
Mm-hmm. I believe that one of the weird things about Cubics too is they do have a fusion, but it really is like it's so unviable to actually summon. But like they have a trap, but the fusion is summoned by a trap card, which is just stupid.
Yeah, if it was a spell card, it's called Cubic Combination, and it lets you fusion summon a cubic monster from your extra deck, although there's only one of them, using monsters from your hand or side of the field. And if a face-up cubic monster leaves the field, or a cubic monster is destroyed by battle while it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and special a level 4 lower cubic monster from your hand or deck, ignoring its summoning conditions, and it can't be destroyed by battle or card effects that turn.
That seems pretty. Wow, the 1-for-1 coming down, so it looks like he's going for a.
He's going for the Vjam.
Yeah, I mean, isn't Bijam I believe is the only level one? So I mean, you could play 1-for-1. It's definitely not a bad card.
I do believe it is the only level 1.
Yeah.
Yes, Vjam is the only level 1.
All right. It's an interesting card. If it ever it does battle an opponent's like your opponent. The only thing I don't like about it is that battling opponent's monsters seems pretty situational for a card that has no attack points. Like most of the time, you're just gonna sit on it. So it looks like the Duja's gonna get an attack in and float into Slip Rider. If I'm silver here, if you're silver here, do you float into a tin can just because you know you can deck thin during the end phase?
Most likely going into Tin Can would be his best bet, seeing as his opponent has no way of special summoning unless he's playing a Super Quantum or some weird engine.
Yeah, for sure. And cubics don't seem like they have a lot of like room for attacks outside of something like recurring, like obvious stuff like recurring. And he's going for the Wicked Witch.
The Wicked Witch, he's still afraid of that OTK.
Yeah, he really is. Like he's personally, because Tinkian is good, but maybe he just doesn't have a Call of the Haunted, and he doesn't really feel the need to deck thin here.
If he has to call the Haunted, he'd probably call the Haunted. Oh no, he doesn't. The smart play would have been to call the Haunted the Dark Destroyer and float it into a tin can to search in the end phase.
Yeah, that's a play. I mean, I don't think it's always optimal to pop your own Dark Destroyer personally, but it's definitely not an unoptimal play in every situation.
One of the most optimal plays of the Cosmo deck is when you have a Destroyer and a Farm Girl to beat with both. Search with the Farm Girl for another Destroyer, then use your Destroyer on your Destroyer that already attacked to float it into something else, and that gives you game damage.
Yeah, that's actually like one of the most I think integral combos. It looks like he's banishing the Wicked Witch to summon a Delta Shuttle. All right, Delta Shuttles. Delta.
That's most likely a call of the Haunted at this point if he's willing to summon the Shuttle in defense to bury.
Yeah, Delta Shuttle doesn't really see a lot of play in like the standard Cosmo variants. Am I not correct?
Most builds don't play him. I personally believe Delta Shell is a 1-0 just because of how well it sets up your graveyard. But
Yeah,
I believe the Fire King build does play 1 or 2.
yeah. The Fire King build I remember playing at locals a few weeks back was he was main. I believe I saw Delta Shuttle come down. It's integral to the combos because it allows you to Source Troopers back. It makes Source Trooper much better.
Correct.
And it's also a level five, which another level five, which means you can play obviously go into infinity a lot easier.
Yeah. It's a nice level 5 machine so that you don't have to use multiple Slip Riders.
So it looks like the dude is gonna get reduced by whatever he's sending. The other thing about Delta Shuttle is it sends for cost. So like you can actually send to set up like you can actually even if it's negated off of something like say Strawman, you can actually send anyway, which is pretty nice.
Yeah. I actually did not see what he dumped with the Duja. Did he actually send a Karma or did he send something else?
With the Duja, I believe he sent a. I believe he said a. I believe forget what he. I believe he sent like a VJOM actually. He did not send a Karma.
That is very confusing.
Yeah, I don't really know
Unless he
why.
has a way
What?
of reviving it.
hmm So it looks like he's viewing his deck to figure out what's. He probably tells me he has a Source Trooper in hand. Otherwise, he wouldn't be going for Delta Shuttle.
He might have. It's very possible. It's hard to read this back row right now as the cubic player because it could be a Call of the Haunted for whatever the Delta Shell dumps, or it could be a Cosmojo so that he can pop the shuttle, banish the back row that he's afraid of, and then float the Delta Shell into a Sword Troopers to
Yeah,
revive
that would
whatever
be
he
probably the
dumps
best
here.
thing to do for sure. I think he's trying to figure out what monster he wants to send. Although most of the time, I think with Source Trooper, unless you're going for like in case he's going for Strawman, yeah, he definitely has the Source Troopers. Looks like there's the Source Trooper coming down, and he's gonna obviously activate the Strawman and grab back the Banish Slip Rider. All right, so here he actually is in a really good position because he can go into an Infinity. And Infinity is gonna set him a lot further ahead if he can get the VJOM off the field.
There is the Strawman.
Strawman is gonna grab the Slip Rider most likely.
He could go into the Infinity, like you said, absorb the Duja.
But the thing is, like, and this is kind of something I've noticed a lot about Cosmos, is they do have trouble dealing with monsters that can't be destroyed by battle.
Um,
Or card effects as well. Something like Bilza can lock them down if they don't have Mojo.
Bijan can easily be added with Dark Destroyer, but he
If
hasn't gotten to one yet.
mm-hmm.
If this is Fire King Cosmos, they don't actually main Farm Girl because they feel it breaks more often than it helps. So he may not actually have a very easy way of searching his destroyers.
Yeah, he's going for the Infinity here. Looks
The
like
question is, what is that back row?
So it looks like Tinker's got a response for the he's got powerful rebirth. This is an interesting tech.
So that's going to bring back.
Bring back the Yugioh. Powerful rebirths have always been a very interesting card to me. I just never really seen a deck that could actually utilize it, but in certain decks it's very, very good. Like something like the fact that it's not binded to the monster is really good.
Um, I've seen multiple, or rather, one of our local players plays it in Arrow Mages. Bradley does, and the reason being is because he main decks Magic Planters. It's nice to revive Jasmine in defense mode and have her get like the boosts. Then the next turn you can just Magic Planter it away and still have your Jasmine in defense mode.
I mean, if Cosmos were a thing, I would definitely be playing it over Call the Haunted and Heroes, just because being able to summon back Shadow Mist and not if they with Twin Twisters running around, a card like Powerful Rebirth is that much better.
The thing about Rebirth is it changes their level, so you no longer are able to make rank 4 plays.
Yeah,
That's the only reason I feel that hero players haven't started playing it, or
yeah,
towers.
yeah, I love it. I think in Heroes I did actually try. I tried it, but there were a couple situations I would play it if they didn't have. So it looks like the Infinity is going to take the Yugioh. But in something like Cubics, you don't really care about your levels, so you could definitely justify playing it. Since really like the only monsters you're bringing back are probably Vjam or Yugioh.
So he sent Unification here. The problem is Infinity can negate Unification effect. I do believe it banishes from the graveyard. Yes, it does banish from the graveyard for a cost.
And that's actually that means he can grab another Vjam from the deck. I believe he still has one in deck.
The question is, will he negate Vjam or will he negate Unification? Because Unification will let him summon the Cubic High Emperor, which I believe lets him search.
Yes, as well. And the fact that it ignores summoning conditions means obviously you can grab one of the ones that has to destroy in order to come out in the first place.
No, the High Emperor lets him recycle from his graveyard.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it looks like they're just discussing some kind of like zone-related situation. I'm not really sure. Yeah, and it's kind of like cards like Infinity are always kind of weird to work on Dueling Network, where you have to lay all these random exceeds over each other.
Right.
All right, so I guess I honestly like from here I don't really know whether Silver does have a follow of something else because like obviously you don't want to leave your straw man and sitting in attack mode. So I'm assuming he probably has a ship to tag out into.
It's highly likely that he has 2 ships, I believe, as his Sword Troopers isn't something you'd want to leave in attack unless that back row is a Mojo.
Yeah, for sure. But he keeps checking his extra deck, which I mean I'm guessing he could have like an E-Telly or something. I'm not sure.
He may also have another Sword Troopers that he might tag out into, and
Mm-hmm.
that would let him make a Break Sword.
Yeah, yeah, and Break Sword could get rid of the V-Jom if he's having trouble getting rid of it.
Correcting myself on what I said about the High Emperor, the effect is actually that he can target up to 3 cubics in his graveyard when it's sent to the graveyard by battle or card effect, and he special summons them, and then he can add a cubic card from his deck or graveyard to his hand.
That's pretty crazy.
Except it cannot summon itself from the graveyard, it has to summon 3 other cards, up to 3 other cards, so he can't actually cycle the V-Joms.
Oh, okay, gotcha. That makes a little more sense. Alright, so let's see. It looks like the Mojo's coming down. He's going to go ahead and banish the V-Jom, get it off the field.
So then he likely does not have he likely did not have a ship in his hand, so his straw man's in a pretty bad spot. I don't know why the Sword Troopers is banished, however.
Yeah, it would be destroyed.
Correct. It
Yeah,
would be in his graveyard.
I believe unification activates whenever a monster leaves the field as well, which makes it even better. So it looks like he's going to grab another cubic monster from his deck. I'm kind of glad they only made it level 4s or lowers. It would have been insane if you could grab Novas from the deck. These would be so dumb. More dumb and already pretty
So
dumb
he is
archetype.
not. Oh, he is negating with the
The
Infinity.
Yeah, unification is definitely not something you really want to let resolve because it's going to just set you back a turn.
He probably should have detached a Cosmo from Infinity instead of the Nova to help set up his graveyard, but it's likely not going to have a large influence on the state of the game right now.
Yeah, it looks like because he looks like the rebirth is going to also hit the grave. Then the
Right.
500 attack is going to get in. Would surprise me if he doesn't have a ship to tag out into.
He might have another level 3 to tag out into, but
Yeah, it looks like
if
he's
he had
gonna.
if he summons a ship here, he misplayed earlier.
Oh wow,
Oh,
Farm
he
Girls.
does have a farm girl to tag into, so that means he can actually search a Dark Destroyer here.
Yeah, and like Dark Destroyer Infinity is almost pretty hard to board to overcome.
One of the smarter plays he could make right here would be, if he's playing 2 farm girls actually, would be a search a Dark Destroyer, summon it from the farm girl's effect, and use the farm girl's effect on her, or use the farm girl's effect to summon Dark Destroyer on itself, and flow into a farm girl to search Cosmo Town to put the Dark Destroyer back in hand.
Yeah, that would be a really good play here because even if he does summon the Dark Destroyer, that's not game here.
Right.
People forget Farm Girl's search effect is not once per turn. There just aren't a lot of situations where you search more than once.
If he already has a Mojo in hand, it would be better. Or if he has a Town in hand, because it means he'd be able to set up Mojo Destroyer plays.
For sure.
But we'll see what happens now. He's about to tag out.
For the Dark Destroyer, most likely.
Most likely what I just searched.
Still looking at Dark Destroyer, someone's still charging $100 for that card.
That's outrageous.
Yeah.
Gold rare, $10.
Oh, I mean,
Secret rare, $100. Let's go.
actually, like I remember when I thought that. And the thing is, like, okay, he's going for a good witch, so it looks like he's kind of
So
floating.
it looks like, I mean, that's still not game. That leaves him with 1200, even if he did attack with Destroyer.
Yeah, like, even if he attacks with Destroyer, like he doesn't, because you can't use
Yeah, he's not tagging out. Okay, so
because all the Cosmo pilots they can only tag out once per turn.
he's put himself in a very low resource game state, but his opponent's in a very similar position, so it's probably going to go to the Cosmo player this game just because of the Infinity being able to negate one of his
Yeah,
3
I'm
cards.
guessing Silver was probably thinking that he needed to get he wanted to get in as much damage as possible to in case the deity happens to come down. All right, wow, pass back. Tinker passes right back. I guess he just does not have anything. That looks like we're going to game 3, boys. And the Dark Destroyer is attack's going to connect, so that is
Okay,
game. Looks like we are going to game 3. So, so
so they'll be siding right here, and then the cubic player will be able to decide who is going first and who's going second.
yeah, if I'm the cubic, I mean, what possibly? I mean, I don't know what could be in Silver's side for cubics. Aren't they're all dark attribute, correct?
Correct, but since Cosmos are also all dark, they can't side Shadow and Prisoning Mirror.
But they could be citing something like, for example, Chaos Trap Hole. Tin
Correct,
Can
yeah.
again. Must be nice. Tin Can 3 games in a row. All right, and he's actually normal summoning the Tin Can here. But honestly, I feel like Chaos Trap Hole is something if you don't have them in the main, you should definitely have them in the side because there's not a matchup right now they're really bad against.
Another good card that could be played here, I'm not sure if either of these decks would play it, is Time Space Trap Hole. Because since the Cubic Deity does summon himself from hand by revealing, you can just pay 1,000 and shuffle him into the deck.
Yeah, that's actually like time space is one of those cards that I feel like is good in certain situations, and definitely against these decks is something. I
Same
mean,
thing with the ships.
with Rafflesia, I feel like I've always been the type like I never was a big fan of maining treacherous, but I definitely like running one time space to send off a Rafflesia.
In a deck where you're playing probably 2 traps, and most of the Draco Pal variants that play Rafflesia I've seen have played a treacherous and a bottomless, because you can always just send treacherous, and it's really strong to be able to just destroy 2 monsters.
Yeah, and the other thing is Rafflesia is only going to get better because we're getting endless trap hole. I believe it's in Dark Illusions or I believe.
Yeah, it's basically the permanent Book of Moon Trap Hole. But
Yeah, it's like Burt Quaking Mirror Force and Bottomless Trap Hole had a baby.
yeah,
So it looks like the slipper the I believe which one's
Landwalker.
yeah the Landwalker off of so
Now, if that face down is a Call of the Haunted, that's very fortunate for the Cosmo player, because he got probably the one card he wanted to draw the most.
yeah, because Landwalker protects your Cosmos ships from being popped, which is really important.
Correct, but he doesn't actually have another target right now, so Landwalker is just a level 6 floater.
Yeah, for the other thing that makes Landwalker so good is it's also keeps your Dark Destroyer from being outed by Utopia Lightning, which is one of the more, at least in America, is pretty much in every extra deck right now.
Every extra deck they can play level 4s.
Yeah, and that's one of the reasons I think like I feel like Konami at some point may expand the extra deck just by maybe say 5, just because we're gonna get so many more. I feel like Lightning is the last monster that's gonna be like a staple that's gonna require multiple extra deck slots. It looks like the
I
twin.
feel like if we had 20 cards in the extra deck, it would be a lot more convenient for people, but it would also like make the game slightly easier, like being able to main deck more outs, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like the Twin Twister. He's gonna let the Mojo get hit. He can't because it's not. It's dead anyways at this point. And the Karma was pitched, so looks like we. It's interesting that let's see what Tinkerer decides to search off of the Karma in the grave.
Um, if I was a Cosmo player, I probably would have made a ship in my main phase or in his standby phase before the Twin Twisters. Rather, he probably could have floated into a ship, depending on if he has Dark Destroyer in hand, and then he could have Cosmojo'd away the Karma before the opponent searched. But
Yeah, for sure. Because you don't Karma obviously like you want to get those trap. You don't want those spells and traps for cubics to sit in the graveyard. They're just gonna cause problems.
he really doesn't. The fact that he didn't Cosmojo with the Tin Can means that he probably has a nice target in his hand to float into.
Yeah, it looks like the Dooge is coming down, and I believe Karma's Xenos card. Yeah, Karma isn't once per turn for the search effect, so he can dump another Karma and search with it,
Correct.
which is probably what he's going to do. No, he's going to send combination unification.
He either has a nice play in hand or he's trying to protect himself for later on.
Yeah, for sure.
Playing a stall game with Cosmos isn't the best plan just because of how we saw last game. He can easily and quickly set up a board to just take out his opponent. Like here, he could just float because we know he has the Landwalker in hand, but yeah, he just summons the Landwalker, so he was probably going to not attack into that.
And the Landwalker's also at 24, pretty beefy 2400. And looks like we're.
This is nice because it means that if he did have a Slip Rider, whoever back row he sets now is safe.
So it looks like the he's drawing for turn. See if he gets something to. Oh, and the Lord of Darkness is coming down. Which the lure is amazing in Cosmos. It's with that, if you have that in Cosmotown, it's basically like a free draw. All right, and let's see if he actually has a target to banish, because nothing makes you saltier than when you YOLO a lure and then you have to banish your whole hand.
Oh, he did not actually banish a monster. This may be problematic.
Oh, there it
Okay, he
goes.
did.
I was already ultimate. I was like, whoa. Tinker is like, I got a bad feeling about this. Echoing Star Wars. And it looks like the Cosmos. Yeah, he's like curious for the Star Wars reference. And I'm assuming that he's probably going to re-add the Source Trooper off of Cosmotown unless he's going to try to unbrick his hand. Although there's no real reason to activate the Cosmotown unless you're really worried about your Landwalker biting the dust.
I mean, the other thing about the Cosmotown is he now has a live target for protection with the Landwalker, so...
Yeah, it's like Landwalker doesn't just protect monsters. It can just pop anything.
If he tries to pop the town, he can just pop the Landwalker instead. Or if he tries to pop the Landwalker, any monsters on the board.
Yeah, it looks like he's going to shuffle back 2 Source Troopers. That's kind of a bricky hand when you don't have anything to put it in the grave.
Yeah.
At least you don't have anything to loot back with it.
Since both decks rely on banishment, I doubt this ruling will come up, but I doubt the Cubic player sided Imperial Iron Wall, although he could have. Because if you chain Imperial Iron Wall to a Allure of Darkness, it becomes Pot of Greed so long as you can reveal a dark monster at the end.
I did not know that. It's a very interesting ruling.
Because it's already started resolving, you resolve as much as possible so that your opponent would draw the 2, and as long as they can reveal a dark, they keep all cards in their hand. If they cannot reveal a dark, they discard their entire hand.
So if Iron Wall's already face up, can you activate a lure?
No.
You can't. Okay.
Because you do not have the ability to banish. But at activation, you did. You met all costs required.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
one of those funky things where if you're not making smart plays, it happens.
Alright, oh, terraforming's coming down.
It's very possible that he is playing Fire King Island. We'll see right here, unless he's going to search another town to try and unbrick.
Yeah, he's got the island.
He is playing Fire King Island. Okay.
Looks like he's definitely. Looks like it's for. I think out of 3 games, first time we've actually seen island come down. So it looks like he's. All right, the island is coming down.
The question is, will he destroy in hand or on field?
The other thing about island is that like one of the things you really have to watch is that you don't want to leave your island sitting on the field because whenever it leaves the field, it pops all your monsters, which is good.
All the key combos in the deck actually revolves around opening Dark Destroyer and one of each field spell. Because you start by popping Dark Destroyer in your hand with the Fire King Island, and then replacing it to pop your other monster wherever you summon. I believe they go into Delta Shuttle and dump like Sword Troopers.
Mm-hmm.
And flow into another Sword Troopers.
Looks like
just insane.
Looks like he actually is playing multiple Landwalkers, which is interesting. Would probably explain why he bricked.
I actually believe that 2 Landwalkers is probably a nice ratio for them.
Yeah, it looks like he's gonna chain the Slip Rider to figure out whatever the trap is and get rid of it.
If the trap is not... If the trap is a cubic card, that's probably not going to help him.
He's gonna pop the island so he can float into more stuff, which is important. Like I was stating earlier, like one of the most important things is not leaving Fire King Island face up because it pops all your monsters when it leaves the field.
So now he can float into a 5 or lower and a 4 or lower.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, how is he going to try and chain block? Okay, so he's going to summon the 5 or lower first.
Mm-hmm. Looks like the Delta Shuttle's coming down, and probably I would go for a Source Trooper because obviously you're gonna loot back whatever you send off of Delta Shuttle.
Right, he's likely going to send a Strawman off of the Sword Trooper, or off of the Delta Shuttle, revive it with a Sword Trooper, make an Infinity by summoning back yours. Slip Rider.
The interesting thing about the about Fire King Cosmos is it turns like the deck's like basic play style on its head. Like Cosmos are a very kind of like you could call it helmet type deck, and Fire King Island kind of turns the deck on its head and makes it like almost like full power Pepe.
It follows a similar concept to making an unbreakable board, but the problem with Fire King Cosmos versus Pepe is after Fire King Cosmos get done with making their unbreakable board, they paid probably 5,000, 6,000 life points.
Yeah, I was
And if
remember.
you have the out to the board, or if you had Max C through all of it, they lose.
Yeah, like the and I mean unless you're playing against like a matchup where Dark Planet just wins you and you're playing the Dark Planet build, it's pretty easy to find a way to make, even if they have like a Dark Lady, Dark Planet, Infinity board. It's not the hardest board in the world to out, especially if they've paid so many lives. I mean, you literally could like burn them with a Just Desserts for game or whatever.
Right.
Yeah, it looks like he's targeting the Delta shuttle's targeting its effect is negated, but he's it sends for cost,
Correct.
which is one of the like combos I did not realize Delta shuttle sent for cost.
One of the hilarious plays of the Cosmo Fire King Island deck is that when they summon Dark Destroyer with its effect negated off of Strawman, they can still activate the effect with Infinity on the board, and then negate that effect with Infinity to force it to destroy the Dark Destroyer so it can float again.
And that's the thing is that like I like at least like I'm not the biggest fan of the Fire King variant, but I do like the fact that it kind of like expands the deck's basic plays and like makes you actually have to think before you make a big play.
I mean, a lot of the plays are kind of repetitive since it follows the same logic, but it does expand like the range of what it does.
Yeah, for sure. So it looks like the Infinity's coming down. So I wonder if he does happen to have a ship to tag out it with his straw man. Or he could have just attached it as material if he doesn't.
He could. He's more likely to attach the Duja as a material.
Yeah, he's gonna go ahead and attach the
Yeah.
Duja. And depending on what I mean, Infinity's already on the field, so depending on what the trap card is, this could be a game-ending scenario pretty soon.
Then Fanny's actually gaining, I believe, 800 attack because it has 4 materials, I believe. So it is
2,900, pretty
yeah.
nice.
If he has enough pilots to tag out into and a farm girl, he probably has game here.
Yeah, so it looks like let's
We'll
see what he
see.
does. And he also sent a Dark Lady off the Delta shuttle, I think, which was an interesting. It must mean he probably has a Call to Haunted in his hand. The Twin Twister's coming down. He wants to get the back row out
He's
of the way.
afraid of the back row. He does discard. He discards the chicken. Okay.
So he's getting the reverse, which I don't know if unless he just didn't have any targets, I would have
I
chained
mean,
rebirth there.
he had the Duja, but he could have forced the negation.
Yeah, like because like with reverse, like it's not binded to the monster, so you can chain it with Twin Twisters and it still sticks on the field. So that might have been a minor misplay on. Oh wow,
Oh, okay, that's the game.
Yeah, Italy coming down.
As long as he still has the farm girl, yeah, okay.
Well, it's like Billy Mays. Wait, there's more.
But wait, but wait, there's more.
All the guys watching this have seen that meme. It's like Billy Mays and says when a Cosmo player eats Ellie's during the battle phase.
But wait, there's more.
Right? It's like the dark. But the thing is, like, this is gonna leave Tinker at like 100 life points.
Oh.
So he's not dead yet, but like he pretty much is.
Yeah, I doubt he can create a comeback to this.
Yeah, you're at 100 life points. There's not a lot you can really do. Tinker's like, yeah, you'll have to leave me at 100.
He has a negation too, so
It's not like exactly like there's not a lot Tinker can really do in this situation.
we'll see what happens right here. So
Yeah, let's see if what happened. Let's see if Tinker does have a answer here. I mean, getting a Crimson Nova would definitely kind of go a long way to at least getting. But the thing, Crimson Nova, the problem with Deity is that like he's at less than 3K, so he'll kill himself if he doesn't win with Deity this turn.
the thing is, if he cannot game him with Deity, what would happen is that unless he has like Deity, Karma, and Pulse, he loses.
That's definitely true. He's like, well, so it's like, does he not have an answer?
If he has Deity, Karma, Pulse, and a third card to reveal, he has game right here.
Yeah, but it's like a Infinity's on the field. It's like a perfect. So Zephyros is being summoned.
Summon the Zephyros.
And summon the Zephyros card.
Attack the straw man.
This is like just like you know what, like I'm probably gonna lose, so YOLO, basically.
Worth take that damage, Cosmo player.
It's like
Juicy.
right, totally worth.
And that's probably going to be the match right here, unless the Cosmo player decides to go for memes.
Yeah, go for memes. He's gonna set
Cosmo player sets a back row.
Just for
no, he's not going for the memes. He could have absorbed it, but
all right,
there's
looks
the
like
game.
all right, guys, looks like that's the game. So that comes to the end. So later these next few weeks, I will have several more round 2 matches and some round 3 matches as well. So anyway, guys, as always, I thank you guys for watching this video today. They really appreciate it when you guys watch my videos. Turn on Tuesday, Thursdays, and Fridays for more Yugioh content and lecture solved in this video. Please subscribe. This is Orstorm.